First of all, credit to Coach Kiffin and Ole Miss. They played great, and much respect. That's what I told Lane after the game. Much respect for how he was able to get his team ready to play after the disappointment they had last week, coming into a really difficult environment. So I thought they did a great job, and ton of respect for them. Really appreciate the effort that our guys played with. There was some great individual effort plays. Lenoris, he was obviously beat up coming into this game, and just the way that he competed and battled. O'Donnell Fortune, they hit a deep ball over there on their sideline, and the effort by him to get the guy on the ground. And then I think we held them to a field goal on that series. They hit the slant on us, and they came across the field, and DQ Smith, his effort to go, run that thing down and get the ball back right there as well. So really appreciate the effort. Having said that, probably is disappointed, not probably, the most disappointed I've ever been as a head football coach in the way that we played. And that starts with me as the head football coach. We talked coming into this game, Ole Miss was the most penalized team in the SEC. They played the most games, obviously, so they had a lot of penalties, but penalty yards per game, I think they were averaging close to 90 per game. And we talked all week about being the most poised and the disciplined team, and we were undisciplined, to say the least, today. And that starts with me as the head coach. I didn't do a good enough job. When you talk about the multiple offsides penalties, a taunting penalty, 2 offensive pass interference penalties. We got to burn a timeout on that last drive on a critical 3rd or 4th down play because we can't get lined up the correct way. Really, really, really disappointing. And that is completely on me. We all need to look ourselves in the mirror, but I've got to do a better job because we had a great week of practice, and I'm shocked at the way that we played, just to be completely frank and honest with you. And our guys really, really wanted this one. And I was, one concern I had, and talked about it earlier in the week, was knowing how much we wanted this thing, that we just got out there and don't play with the poise and the discipline that we need to. And that's exactly what happened. We talked about you can learn from losses, and what did we learn from the LSU game, and we cost ourselves with penalties in that game. And I haven't done a good enough job of helping those guys learn from that one, because it cost us again today as well. So we've got to be better, get to go on the road next week. As well, got a lot of work to do, but still believe in this football team. We've shown so many signs of being a really good football team. We weren't that today. Certainly disappointed. It was an amazing environment, and everything was set up perfect, and we didn't coach and perform well enough. Injury-wise, O'Donnell, we didn't have him the second half. He's got an upper body injury. We'll see how long he may be out for. Jerry Brown had to leave the game with the same injury. We'll see about him. And then Dale Von Campbell on that pass down there in the end zone. He's got a pretty significant shoulder. We'll see where he is from that standpoint. I know you'll ask about the fake punt at the beginning of the game. Thought like we had a good call. It's something we've been repping since August. As well. Not very good on my part. Certainly wish I could have that one back. Thought we could get a yard on that. They played it really well, a little bit differently than we expected off the edge. I think that guy's the guy that made the tackle. Anticipated them being a little bit softer on the edge and being able to, get some penetration or get some movement in there to be able to pick up a couple yards or whatever it was. So hate that I put our defense in that position. And that was really, to me, the key. The first quarter, just to be frank, excuse my language, sucked the way that we played in the first quarter. The fake punt that didn't work. We're driving on offense. We fumble. We turn the ball over. They go down the field and score. I think we had 2 offsides penalties on defense in the first quarter alone. Just got to be better, for sure. Starting with me, and we will be. Questions?
Shane, sorry to be vague here, but what was the offensive game plan going in, and why didn't it work?
Offensive game plan was to be able to, they're a good defense. Obviously, they knew they were going to be a challenge up front to block, and they got really good players. The game plan was we are who we are, David, on offense. We run some triple option. We get the ball on the perimeter. We run the football. We take shots downfield. We wanted to be able to get the ball out of Lenore's hands quickly and get the ball in space to our guys. They were played a little bit different, on defense, and we expected them to. So that was a little bit of an adjustment that we had to make, just the way they were playing coverage and trying to just defend that in a little bit of a different way. So we thought we were a little bit better in the second half. We wanted to play with some more tempo in the second half, and I thought we played, from what I saw, decent in the second half, and that's what's frustrating. I mean, there's two third downs. I was going to go for it the first drive of the second half, and then it was third and whatever, and then we lost yardage, and then it brought up fourth and I think 5 or 6, and I wanted to get points there, but I'd already told Dal 2 downs, and we lost some yardage. And then the next drive was, I think, a penalty on third down where we got back to fourth and forever or something. But just being able to, be aggressive and whatnot in the second half, saying that we had some drives going and did some decent things. We just weren't good enough for sure.
Shane, can you walk us through the decision to accept the Kennard penalty on the sack on the last Ole Miss possession of the first half?
To accept
the Kennard penalty when he had the sack, made it 1st and 20.
I can't see. Can you look? What did you say?
Made it 1st and 20 instead of 2nd and 17. You accepted that penalty, and they hit the big play on the extra third down.
1st and 20 instead of 2nd 17 on the sack. I don't really remember, Alan. I'm sorry on that one. Kennard had the sack, and I can't remember exactly. I'll have an answer for you tomorrow night on the teleconference. I've got to think back. There was a good reason for it, I'm sure.
Shane, you talk about guys learning from their mistakes. Dylan gets called for whatever it was, for fake shooting a gun at Jackson Dart, and then he gets a tackle for loss and kind of does the same thing again. Did you talk to him at all afterwards?
Yes.
Defensively, how do you feel like those guys held up tonight?
Thought they did a decent job. Obviously, we gave up 27 points and whatnot. I thought they played well. Like I said, we put them in some tough spots in the first quarter, field position-wise, with the fake punt and the turnovers. But for the most part, I thought they did okay. I don't think we got a takeaway. I don't believe Ole Miss turned the ball over any, did they? So that was obviously a disappointing part. We knew that the turnover margin was going to be critical in this game. I think we were tied with Ole Miss going into this game in turnover margin. I think we were both third in the SEC, or we were tied with them to be third in the SEC, and needed to get some takeaways for sure and protect the football, and we lost that. So I wish we could have gotten takeaways, but for the most part, I thought they did a good job. But obviously when you lose the game and you give up 27 points, not good enough.
Shane, what do you make of Lenore Sellers' performance today?
Yeah, I thought he played his butt off, battled, took some hits. I don't know what it ended up being O-line. I thought our offensive line did a pretty good job for the most part throughout the night. I know they got us some there at the end, but protection-wise, he had time, and I thought he did a good job. He's tough. He's competitive. He continues to get better. Had some nice runs for us for sure, and made some good throws. Looking at it, I was surprised that our longest pass was 17 yards. I didn't realize that, but I thought he did a good job of making. I thought he made good decisions and did a solid job.
Several instances where the offense would stall out, especially on pass plays. Do you think that might have been more of a result of wide receivers struggling to get open, or maybe some indecision? What do you think was kind of some of the issue there?
Issue with what? I'm sorry.
Just some of the pass plays,
Yeah.
where Lenore's kind of had to scramble late. Do you see any issues with wide receivers in terms of just trying to get open?
Yeah, I know in the first half that was some of those where we had some shot plays called downfield and weren't able to quite connect, and I think it's details of routes and being able to get open for sure. I don't know about where Lenore's eyes were on certain things, but certainly there's some detail things that we have to clean up from a route running standpoint throughout the offense as well, and we've got to be able to continue to get open and make those competitive plays too when Lenore's does give us an opportunity.
Shane, when you say you have to do better, are you talking more about game day decisions or just preparation during the week?
I think just the penalty part of it, Rick. Game day decisions are there ones I'd like to have back. Hindsight being 2020, yes, I wouldn't have faked the punt on the first drive of the game. I mean, we had a great stop, crowds into it, and they're on the road in a tough environment. And I thought about what could happen if we convert that, which we felt good about that going into the game. But then we gave Ole Miss some momentum that we didn't need to do, so that's on me. The field goal right there at the first drive of the second half, hindsight being 2020, go for that and whatnot. Those are game day decisions, and I'm sure there's a lot that I'll look back at and think that I needed to be better at. I'm talking more during the week, the fact that we had emphasized. I mean, Dart does a great job of clapping and heart and whatnot and getting people to jump off sides. We knew that. We talked about it. We have a pass rush meeting that I sit in every Thursday with the defensive ends, the defensive tackles, and the linebackers that are involved in pass rush, where we watch. It's a 20-minute meeting, and we talk about the quarterback cadence and the offensive line and how we want to attack them and the pass rush pressures and games that we have. And we talked about it over and over and over again on Thursday when we had that meeting, just about keying the ball and not listening to the claps and things like that. And clearly we didn't do a good enough job of conveying that to our guys because it got us today. So that's the thing that I'm talking about, just the details, Rick, on offense of some of the things that self-inflicted things today, and then the details on defense and special teams of some self-inflicted things that started. It's my responsibility as the head coach. Everything that happens in this program is on my shoulders, and when you look that undisciplined, that starts with me.
Can you talk about how hard it was to get a flow in the game when there were 11 stoppages of play to assist their players off, and one of their players had to be same guy assisted off 4 times?
First of all, I hope all those guys are okay, for sure. We had some guys that had some injuries as well, and Boogie and Jules went down a couple times, and I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay. It's remarkable to me how many, maybe it's something there's, and listen, I got my own problems. We just got our butts kicked 27-3. But it's fascinating to me how many injuries occur for them after the opposing offense makes a first down or has a big play. And you go back and watch the Wake Forest game. It happens a lot to the same guy. You watch the Kentucky game. It happens a lot. So certainly we'll look at the tape, and I know there's a review process as well, but it's again, I hope those guys are well and they're great players, and I really hope they're okay. I know he had a big injury report this week, and I'm sure it'll be another big one this week as well, but we'll look at it, and there's not much the officials can do during the game, but certainly it's a thing that, we discussed with, or we'll discuss with the people above us as well. But again, I got my own problems on our own team right now, but I think if it's the timing of some of the injuries, it's a really bad look for college football, and it's not what this game's about. If what it looks like is what's accurate.
You guys talked throughout the week about sustaining drives and how other teams have had some success slowing down Ole Miss's offense like that. How much of that goes into kind of those play calls of going for it on 4th, the fake punt, and how much of an effect did it have on the final result of the game in your opinion?
We certainly wanted to be aggressive. I think when you go into a game that that you know the other team's offense is explosive, you got to be smart. But we didn't want to go into this game saying, "Hey, we're going to run the play clock down every time to 2 seconds and just shorten the game." We're a pretty good team, and we've got a good defense, and we thought we could rely on them. And one thing we talked about was this was going to be. We had a great environment, and we talked about it all week that this is their first true road game. No disrespect to Wake Forest, but I think there were more Ole Miss fans in Winston-Salem than there were Wake Day fans that day. But this was going to be the first hostile crowd that they played in. So we felt good about our defense. Having said that, we did want to be aggressive. I go back to the Tennessee game 2 years ago. I mean, they're an up-tempo offense, and it's not so much thinking that you got to stay on the field to keep them from scoring. In my mind, it's staying on the field so your defense doesn't have to play too many plays. And you go back to the Tennessee game 2 years ago. I think we the first drive of the game, I think we we went for it on 4th and 6 and threw a little curl route over there on their sideline. We went through it for a 4th and 1 or 2 in our own territory that we got, a similar situation from today. So it was wanting to be aggressive, and that decision by me in the first quarter wasn't so much we need to stay on stay on the field to keep them from scoring. We thought we had a good play, and it's something that we have repped a lot, and they did a good job defending it. We didn't do a good job executing it, and that's on me. I mean, I told the players, I told the defense as soon as it was over, put that one on me, man. I gave them 7 points, and tough one for me to get over. But when you sit in the chair that I sit, you make good decisions, and people say great job, and you make crappy decisions, and you open yourself up to criticism for sure.
I apologize for following up on Alan's question, but it seemed like a really big point in the game on the penalty to decline Kennard's sack. I'm curious if you can walk through the mechanics of that. Are you listening to Clayton say accept, decline, or do the refs go to you? What kind of happens in that moment?
No, most of the time, or not most of the time, anytime there's a penalty, there's I'm talking to Clayton. What do you want to do right here as well? What do you want to do? Do you want to decline this? Do you want to accept it? The officials, they're able to communicate to each other with earpieces and a microphone. So the guy on the sideline is talking to me. What do you want to do? What do you want? And then he's conveying to the referee or the white hat and whatnot. So whatever communication went on that one, that was a conversation between myself and the defensive staff and the officials for sure. Thank you, guys.